Hello and welcome back to the channel of Motorbike Nonsense. Today, used bike nonsense. Now, I remember the first time I ever encountered the Ducati Diavel. It was just after it had come out, and one fired up outside what used to be On Good Motorcycles Triumph dealership in my home county of Essex. And I kind of heard it and felt it. It had a full Termi system, and it rattled me to the core, and I thought, that sounds freaking awesome. It was so loud and so booming that it actually rattled my Essex accent away, never to be seen again. Yes, I finally got my hands on a first-gen example of Ducati's power cruiser, the Diavel. This is up for sale at Superbike Factory in Crawley for £5,500 with 14,400 miles on it, making it the second cheapest one of these on Auto Trader in the UK at the moment. But I remember when this came out in 2011, which feels like yesterday to me, and it was barking mad. Power cruiser, fat rear tyre, with a barely detuned version of the 1198 Superbike's engine, also shared with the Multistrada in this case. I actually owned a 2014 Multistrada and an 1198, which is why I now have no money.
With 162 horsepower, 128 newton meters of torque, a 240 section rear tyre, 17-inch wheels and a trellis frame, it was a cruiser, but one with Ducati's sporting DNA shot through it like bechamel through a lasagna.
Okay, we are going to take this for a good ride in a minute, and I'm going to show you what I look like sitting on it. But first, let's just take a look at it aesthetically. Now, this bike, this particular example, is proof that you can't trust the general public with motorbikes. It has some tasteful additions, such as these brake levers, which are desperately uncomfortable and don't feel very nice. And where you can add red anodized stuff has been added to it. A bit of corrosion on the clutch reservoir there. But otherwise, I love the brushed metal on the side there. We'll talk about specs in a little bit, but it still looks incredibly purposeful. This one's got R&G engine cases on it. I don't think they could ever possibly touch down unless you did yourself a real mischief. It's got some shad luggage. This has clearly been set up for touring as well, with this on there. Now, Ducati did actually sell a touring-y version of this, and yeah, that was called the Strada, so you got things like that. This isn't that, but it has been modified to kind of fit in with that ethos. This one's got Oxford heated grips on it as well. You've got these twin screens down here. Top one is black and white, shows you your revs, your speed and everything else. And you've got this little colour one down here, which shows you your gear indicator, your trips, your mileages. And again, this one has got some, yes, squishy carbon tat on there. RAM mount up there, wiring for a sat-nav. And obviously the screen as well, which I think is an official Ducati screen. They did do one just like that for the Strada model, and this one's got white wheels with rim tape. But you can fix all of that stuff. Anyway, let me show you what it'll look like sitting on it. When you first walk up to Diavel, it's about as imposing as a giant bear covered in chocolate and honey, but actually it only weighs 216 kilos fully fueled. So when you're sitting on it, it's very easy to move around, paddle around your garage. It's got a very low seat height as well, 770 millimeters. There's a car coming, hang on. The car has gone. But anyway, I'm 6'3", so I am officially what's called too big for this bike. I probably do look a little bit of a penis on it. However, I don't really care because it rides amazingly. Now, riding position, arms slightly stretched out, slightly wide. The bars come back to greet you in quite a cruisery riding position, but the pegs are mid-mounted. You had the X Diavel, which came out later with the foot forward controls, but this kind of feels like bottom half a naked bike, upright riding position of a cruiser with your top half. Now, in terms of cycle components, it was all top flight sports bike stuff from 2011. So you've got proper Brembo monoblocks on the front, which are still absolutely savage and have loads of feel. Fully adjustable Marzocchi forks and a Sachs rear shock. 17-litre tank that's good for about 130 miles, probably a bit more if you're going gently, but you won't be going gently because you've got 162 horsepower and that massive rear tyre through which to deploy it. Savagely fast, doesn't really cover it, even 14 years on. But let's quickly talk about the stuff to watch out for if you're buying a second-hand one of these, and then we will take it for a bloody good ride. Things to watch out for if you're buying a second-hand first-gen Diavel. Well, I've gone around the forums. It seems to be things like leaking fork seals. That happened on my Multistrada. You're meant to change the fork oil every 15,000 miles as well, so do check it's been done. Otherwise, it's things like there's apparently a rose jointed bush in the rear suspension that is made of cheese and can just wear out really quickly. Otherwise, it's just servicing really, and obviously it has a Desmo service like all Ducatis, so that's valves and belts, and it's 15,000 miles on these in between them. This one's on 14,400, so I'd probably budget for doing that. It does tend to cost near £1,000, 800 quid I've heard at some independents, so it's worth factoring in, but this is £5,500. What's 800 quid on top of that to have a fully serviced, amazing Diavel? Now, obviously, this did get replaced or upgraded, sorry, in 2015 with the twin spark head with reworked throttle mapping, and it was smoother and a bit more cultured. That's the engine I had in my Multistrada, actually. And then in 2020, you got the DVT engine, the one that had to wear special socks to go on flights, which had variable valve timing, could almost say that, variable valve timing, and was even more cultured. And that came out, as I said, in 2020. And then obviously you had the V4 after that, and yeah, that's a blooming good bike. But this is where it all started. So let's take it for a ride and feel what that first gen Ducati punch felt like. Every biker that's gone past today has stopped for a chat. That's so nice. I think they see this and think I've broken down. I've never had a Ducati break down on me, and I've owned quite a few of them. Oh yes, let's go for a ride on the Diavel then, and see if this is a proper cult classic. Marco Simoncelli, never forget. It's got a remote preload adjuster, I should point out, and this one's clearly been looked after because it's got a Ducati Optimate lead on it. You don't want your Ducati to get a low battery because, yes, big V twins take a lot of juice to crank. Right, thumb that down. It's got keyless ignition. Was it the first Ducati with keyless ignition, or was the Multistrada first? I can't remember. But anyway, it's got a physical thing for the fuel flap. And then clutch in, thumb the start button. And it cranks for a little while before turning over. Now this is on the standard exhaust. I'll wait for it to warm up a little bit before I give you some noise, but it does sound flippin' awesome. It's just from that era of Ducatis that was still a bit degenerate, still a bit lumpy, still a bit antisocial. But let's take it for a little spin, hopefully not literally a spin, and find out what the Diavel is all about. Got a gear indicator on that screen as well. It just feels so blooming muscular. From the second you let the clutch out, you're like, okay, this bike's got some serious cojones. It just kind of romps away. Now, I am in sport mode. There are 3 modes, there's sport, touring and urban. Touring and sport give you the 462 horsepower. Sport gives you the sharpest throttle response, and it just charges away, and the brakes are just incredible. This thing absolutely romps away. It's such a ball of energy, and that rear tyre just makes it possible to use pretty much all of the power and torque most of the time. Obviously not when it's wet, but I'm just going to let the engine warm up and then whiz back down here and show you what the Diavel can really do on the road at legal speeds on YouTube, which is pretty much, I'll be honest. Is it still a monster? Well, yeah, it's trying to pick up the front wheel over crests. Wow, it's just a ferocious hit of power. Front wheel cresting off that. But it's the handling that really impresses. Even today, it's just got such a sporty feel about it. Yeah, it'll deck out, but I'm not really worrying about that. I'm more thinking about braking for corners using those monstrous Brembos, blipping my own downshifts because there's no quick shifter or blipper. Oh, that feels good around there. At the back of your head, you are thinking my toes are going to touch down at some point, but this has so much more agility and athleticism than any of its, should we say, more American rivals. Certainly from this era. That engine, though, not really got out of second gear. It's just ferocious. Whoever at Ducati, I don't know what they had in their coffee that day, they decided to put a Superbike derived engine in a cruiser platform and then make it handle like a Ducati should, but Jesus, You might think that sculpted seat is a bit a bit orthopedic looking, but you kind of need it. It locks you into the bike, and every time you get on the throttle, it's nudging you in the back. What a beast. This really was a devil, and it's got such an immediate bark that has just been kind of filtered out of modern bikes. The Diavel still retains a lot of punch and V4 form, and it's probably a bit faster than this and definitely a lot smoother and a bit more cultured. But I'd argue if you're buying an angry Ducati power cruiser, you want one that still feels raw and completely alive. I'm going to do that again because that was one of the most fun moments I've had on a bike this year. It's got such a top end on it as well. Such a good rush at the top. Into third. You end up sticking your elbows out, riding it just like a naked bike. Whoa! Even over those bumps, the chassis is not getting tied in knots. Traction control kicking in there over that bump, and this era of Ducati does have traction control from memory. It's just very rudimentary, and it will just cut the power when it detects a mismatch in wheel speeds. But on a Diavel, I'd say you're not wheeling much of the time, but you can. You want to turn everything off if you're going to do lots of that. Okay, I'd argue that for most people this is probably more fun down here than many modern naked bikes costing a lot more than £5,500. Okay, I've reviewed a couple of used bikes from Superbike Factory over the past year, and I always come down this road, and then when I want to go back I just turn right here and take the boring way back to Crawley. That's not happening today. We're going to run that road again. This bike is speaking to me. I want this quite a lot. Let's just quickly turn around. Turning circle's not bad, not great, and it's light enough to be able to push backwards, but it's a bit lumpy low down, and around town you're going to have to work the clutch a little bit and get used to the old school Ducati-ness of it. But mega, what a mega bike. Would I recommend buying one of these? It's a big fact, yes, obviously. The Diavel, when it came out, was like nothing else. We had things like the Triumph Rocket 3, which were masters of straight line grunts and prodigious torque from huge engines, but Ducati applied their own method to the formula, and they just brought Superbike chassis technology, Superbike engine, and kept it as light as possible while making it look like a cruiser. And the riding position is sporty enough, and the engine is certainly sporty enough. Oh, I don't think motorbikes have got much better than this in the intervening however many years. It does already feel like it's from a golden era that we can't get back thanks to emissions rules, and I don't know, this just feels like it's got a rawness to it that we wouldn't get these days. Oh, yeah, original Ducati Diavel, cult classic, bona fide modern cult classic. There's nothing holding this bike back compared to modern machines, apart from maybe I ain't got cruise control. So what? Someone's put aftermarket heated grips on this, they've turned it into a tourer. They've done what I would probably try and do with mine. But as I said at the start, I'm just not really built for long distance rides on this. My tailbone would take too much of a hit. And actually today, the suspension hasn't been jarring me. I remember I rode a press bike of the 2021 model, the DVT, and that sent shocks right up my spine. This is more compliant than I was expecting. I don't know if they've had the suspension fiddled with by the previous owner, but it is working really well on this bumpy road. The front end isn't too jarring off potholes and things like that. And I'm getting bangs from the exhaust on the downshifts because, yeah, emissions didn't exist when this was made. Oh, I need to turn these hot Oxford grips down. Please don't burn me. Down Cuckfield Lane, a field full of chairs. let's have a quick word about motorway manners on the Diavel. And yeah, the screen is quite noisy for my height, and ergonomically I think I would probably get a sore back after doing probably a tank of fuel on this, just because I'm a bit too tall for it. But it's a very stable bike. It's got obviously loads of grunt, even in top gear, and you get decent fuel economy as well, which isn't why you buy a Diavel, is it? Let's be honest. But I know from experience you can get about 40, 50 mpg out these engines, somewhere in the middle, probably about 130 miles to a tank. So there we have it, modern classic. It's so much fun. It's brutal, it's got a handling delicacy to it, it's got phenomenal brakes. There's a lot to love about this, and I can't believe this one is the same price, was cheaper than a modern Honda 500cc something or other. Obviously this is going to cost a lot more to run, but you really won't care. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I do appreciate it. As usual, let me know what other used bikes you want me to try and review before the end of the year. Like this if you've liked it, subscribe to the channel for more new and used bike reviews and my big off-road tour around the battlefields of northern France on my Tenere 700. And I'm going to go away and pretend that this never happened, so I never have to buy one of these for my dream garage. I do really want one. Maybe the carbon edition or the diesel edition. See you next time. Oh, it sounds like a Ducati should.